Hey, everybody, this is the New Jersey High School Report. I'm your host, Ron Fitch, and it's going to be an interesting show today. I'm going to talk about the biggest matchup and during the tomorrow. It's not St. Thomas Aquinas and Rutgers Prep like I thought it would be, which is going to be a great match. There's some great matchups tomorrow, but I have to talk about the most. It's not probably the best as far as maybe talent-wise, but they're probably the most intense and the one that everybody talks about is Linden Elizabeth. And they're at it again. Two towns that are right next to each other. They play similar. Phil Colicchio was there, winning 6 state titles. You have Coach Drea there now, doing a good job, and Linden is on. Linden's playing very well. And they're home. They're 0-6 against Phil, and they're home. And this is going to be an interesting matchup. I mean, listen, I'm be pulling for Elizabeth. That's because that's my man Phil. I have so much love for the people in Linden. This is interesting because this is, if you're the Linden fans and you're the Linden coaches and Linden, man, you got them right where you want them. All these times we've lost to them, there's been some emotion. There's been a couple fans and there's been a couple assistant coaches going at it. So there's a level of undercurring tension. And I think Linden would like nothing to do than to finally beat Phil on his former court in the biggest stage with the state tournament. Almost like what Georgia did to Alabama, where they just never beat Alabama. And they finally got them where they wanted them in the final and finally won. That's what Linden's hoping. Linden's hoping for that. They're home. It's the toughest home court in the state of New Jersey. Dunn Center is pretty tough. Linden's tough because of how small the gym is, how intense the crowd is, and they're going to taunt you. They really love their team. They're going to cheer super hard. They're going to cheer about 30 minutes before the game. But there's going to be some extra, and I'll get into that later. Elizabeth has overcome that. Now, they overcame a very difficult home court advantage in Watchung Hills, very difficult home court advantage in Newark East Side. They were able to win by 8. They wanted the buzzer against Watchung Hills. They've been on the road. This is not a road game. This is the toughest game of the season for Elizabeth. Tougher than any of the Westfield games because Linden beat Westfield, and I knew Linden was going to beat Westfield. They beat them by 2, 45-43. Westfield's a good team, but this is the States, and it's a different level. And I'll take the Linden point of view, and then I'll take the Elizabeth point of view. Linden, after the Roselle Catholic game, found themselves. They got beat up a little bit by, I guess, 13, but they played very well. And it looked like they found their stroke a little bit. They found themselves offensively. Their guards started to play better. Nigel Merville and Nas Robinson played well in that game. And I saw Coach Dre after the game. He said, listen, man, I told him, I said, you guys are playing good now. Listen, we're going to win Group 4. Just straight up. We're going to win Group 4 then. That's it. We're making a run. That's okay. Because they're playing as confident as they're playing. I understand his confidence. I really do. And they're home. So, but from Elizabeth's standpoint, they're battle tested. They got my guy, Mr. Colicchio. That's the ace in the hole. Linden knows that Elizabeth likes to kind of run that weave offense where they hand the ball off to the guard. He's going downhill. If he doesn't find the drive, he hands the ball back, kind of hands the ball off to the other guard. He drives toward the opposite direction to see if he could go down the middle or cross the elbow to see if he could either find a shooter or drive down, and they'll just keep looking and locating and looking until either Robinson gets a shot or they get or 18 gets a wide open 3, and they usually try to run that. I saw Coach Drea switch everything in the second game, and it gave Elizabeth some problems until Robinson just shot the lights out. I wonder, and I got a feeling Phil's going to add something that they haven't seen all year. I think he's going to try to add some wrinkle. And another key is Elizabeth can't get behind with that crowd. It has to be between either down 4 or up 4. It has to be that kind of game where it's that, and then the best player on the court can do what Mark Armstrong did in the 4th meeting of the Hudson Catholic St. Peter's game, where the best player was able to distribute and score and set his teammates up to make their half-court offense crisper. And that was how St. Peter's won. I'll get into that after the break. But I think that Drea will look to do that. And they'll look to really pressure Elijah Bruno there, the Elizabeth point guard, who's one of the best all defenders in the state, but at times is reluctant to shoot. And I think Linden is saying, listen, we're going to dare him to shoot. We're going to give him every 3-point shot. If he hits threes, God bless him, we're going to lose again. If he doesn't, that's going to really start to frustrate Elizabeth. Let's get him a little frustrated, get a lead. They haven't been behind the whole playoffs. That crowd will go crazy. They'll be taunting the living heck out of Phil. They're going to be going nuts. Even if they're down, even Elizabeth down 20 might do that, but that's their blueprint, Linden. Elizabeth's blueprint is stay ahead, do what you've done all playoffs, let Robinson do what he does, and then the others have to contribute. Like Zareed Beverly, who had a good game against Newark, he said he's got to make shots. And Sean Jules has been good inside. And he's got to be good inside against Linden just to get offensive rebound scoring. When Sebastian Robinson drives, dishes off to him, score, finish, make free throws. Both teams have to make free throws too. Since this is going to be a close game, how do you execute toward the end of the game? Elizabeth wants a game where it's 2 or 3 minutes left. It's a 2 or 3 point game. And they have done very well to end games. Linden wants to lead and have Elizabeth chase them. And then they're able to put more pressure, and then they could finish them off. And finally, the law averages goes in Linden's direction, being at 0-6. And they're figuring, listen, our time is now, man. We done lost these guys enough. These matchups are kind of even. The best player on the court is Elizabeth's player, but our guards are on fire right now. We're due. And on Elizabeth's point of view, they're like, listen, we're going to do what we done. Our mission is to get back and win another state title, get Phil one, get Phil another title, Elizabeth increase his legacy. Now let's get to Phil Colicchio. That's my man. And I followed him. I started when he was a JV coach, and that was my assignment when I first started out as a reporter. So I got to know him. Then he went to Barringer and took a hot garbage program like Barringer to the state playoffs. I don't know. I think they've been 1 or 2 other times since. Then he comes to Linden when he wins 6 state titles, and it's not just that they win, it's family. Like the Mark Manutzes and a lot of the, like, Mr. God rest his soul, Mr. Carter, and a lot of the fans, and my best friend, God rest his soul, one of my best friends, Dennis Sheehy, the Linden, I follow Phil. I say, I love Elizabeth, but I'm a root for Phil over here and support him. And a lot of Elizabeth fans came over to watch to support him too. It wasn't that we were leaving Elizabeth, but we wanted to support Phil. And he won 6 state titles. And there's emotion there because he built some serious friendships, but then he decided to move on, whatever happened, I don't know, and come back home to Elizabeth. And Elizabeth fans came back, like me, came back. But when he went back the one time, they went nuts on him, and it went to overtime. A game Linden really threw away. And Elizabeth stole the game. Jaden Pierre controlled the tempo. So every time there was a run, he was able to just keep things calm. Robinson has to do that. But Phil, I wonder what's going through Phil's head. I mean, geez, this is a state championship. It's probably I think the winner will probably beat the team out of the North, no disrespect. And then Lenape and Cherry Hill East and Marlboro, that'd be interesting. But they're probably going to punch their ticket to Rutgers if whoever wins this game. But Phil is just this lot going on, and he's going to have to figure out how to keep his composure, whether it's calls or just the fans that are just going to be, they're probably going to be nasty. And they said they were going to have tickets on sale. They sold out quickly. So that's let me know they are going to have about 10 Elizabeth fans and about 1,000 Linden fans. They want to make sure that Elizabeth didn't come over here and make it any problem. So that's going to be interesting because the home court advantage is immense, and Elizabeth's going to have to overcome that. Can they mentally be able to deal with the defense of Linden, but to deal with the crowd on top of them and still able to concentrate, because these are sophomores, and still figure out a way to win? It's going to be tough. I personally would have rather played Westfield. As good as Westfield is and all, and they're big is good, but man, going into Linden, woo, it's going to be tough. Now, this state tournament history, there's times it's favored the underdog. The team that's beaten up the other has lost in the states. 88, Corey Floyd dunks all over Elizabeth the 2 times they played in the Dunn Center. They play at Union High School in the states. The third option for Elizabeth goes off. I don't know his full name. They just called him Shanky. And I see him at the state tournament games a lot, and he went off. And they end up upsetting Linden and winning the states against Camden. 92, Elizabeth had been beaten up on Linden, beaten up on Wally Dixon. So they beat them in the state tournament. I mean, their county tournament twice. 91, 92, beat them up. So they just had beat them up. The following week they play. Right after they beat up Linden, they play again. And Wally Dixon had about 35 points in the county tournament in the first half. So they're really putting a lot of attention on him. Ronnie Zamora, the second option of Linden, caught fire and sent Elizabeth home. But then Linden turned around and lost to Irvington. Because a lot of times you win these emotional games, you got to get back up for the following game. And then there were 2 other times, I believe Donald Stewart upset the Elizabeth team, upset the Phil Colicchio Linden teams. Now Elizabeth ended up losing to Plainfield, then they lost to Randy Foy. So it doesn't matter what happens in the regular season. Throw all that out. Whoever makes plays tomorrow wins, no matter who that is. Whoever makes the shots, is Nigel and Nas going to make those shots at home like they did in all these last week? Can they continue to do that? Because Elizabeth's going to play some mean. Elizabeth defense is better. Linden's defense is really good. It could be ramped up a notch at home, but Elizabeth defense is ridiculously good. How is the game officiated? Is it going to be tight? If it's not going to be tight, definitely favors Elizabeth. Elizabeth has the best play on the court, but does that matter if their shooters make shots? So tomorrow's game, you might hear this broadcast tomorrow morning or tonight, but when this game is played, look at those points I made for Linden shooting. Can they get the shot off against Elizabeth's defense? Can they make the shots when they're open? And can ATN and the others help Robinson out? Okay, St. Peter's versus Hudson Catholic. It was a great game at Hudson Catholic. They're playing for the 4th time. And I said, I'm looking at Hudson Catholic. I'm looking at St. Peter's. I was there. Hudson had looked deeper. So, and at home, and I said, if they could get a 6 to 10 point lead, that could really hurt St. Peter's. All St. Peter's wanted to do was keep it close and let the best player on the court do what he do. And they did a pretty good job on Armstrong in the first quarter. Second quarter, he had 15 points. A lot of his points came in that quarter where he got going a little bit. Third quarter, he was off, but the others did what they had to do, like Tyler Lingham and Jackson Tyndall. Jackson Tyndall was terrific inside. And what they did, the fear of Mark Anderson hurting you got the better of Hudson Cali. You want to double the player, but they put so much attention toward him that there were missed assignments and guys got open for wide open shots. I understand you want to double him when he's coming off that high screen, but man, they got beat a lot by Tyndall's offensive rebounds and his ability to slide in, and Anderson or Lingham finding him on one of their drives. Biggest play of the game was about 5:20 left. Tie score. And there, I looked at the play and I saw the play develop. I said, well, they're going to run Armstrong off a screen. I think he's going to catch it and shoot it. So I wonder if Hudson Catholic knows that. Now, Gertrude, their best guard, as far as defense is concerned, because they got the long arms, was guarding him. He gets caught on a screen. So now there's a moving. Now Armstrong's moving and motion, drives. I said, oh, okay. The help defense is coming in time. But what Armstrong knew, that he was going to be a decoy on this play. And he kicked it out to Tyler Lingham, who was wide open. It's a cold-blooded three. They took the lead. They kept the lead. It was a wide open shot by Aaron Davis. Wide open three, and I saw it look good to tie the score. He missed it. And then Gertrude took a wild three, got with seconds left, got a shot block, and St. Peter's moves on. And they executed their half-court offense better than Hudson at the end of the game. And they were able to come away because, and this is what I did miscalculate when I picked Hudson to win. When you have one star player who's really a high IQ player, star player, he understands if he has to put up 50 or he has to put up 10 assists, whether it's 50 points or 10 assists or other things, he's going to do whatever it takes to win. And that's what Armstrong did. And they did a good job. And they got to play Bergen Catholic and Richardson and Julian Brown. And those dudes are going to be tough at home. This is going to be another tough game. Terry Copeland puts up 14 points. So now they got a third option. The others from St. Peter's, they're not as deep, but they have to just give Armstrong the help. And this is the kind of game where Armstrong's got to put up some points. And when the game's online in the fourth quarter, Richardson and Brown are good defenders, and he's just got to be able to shoot over the top. But if they just double, triple team, I think they continue to do what they do and just decide to let Tyndall score inside off of wide open looks. And he made his free throws too, and they made their free throws. So that's going to be interesting. That's an interesting game. It's anybody's game. That's like Linden Elizabeth. That's just going to come down to who makes shots. But I had a chance to interview Mark Armstrong after the game.
Okay, I got Mark Armstrong here, the hero of the game. What do you think the key was the fourth time you played this team and you got them the fourth time?
Toughness, man, toughness. We've been preaching it all year. We came out, we did what we had to do. Zion hit a big shot, Tyler hit a big shot. I trusted my teammates. Coach said you got to trust your teammates to take this over. And I did. Jackson with a great rebound. Iced the free throws, and I had to finish with the free throws.
Jackson had some big points inside. When they were triple teaming you, you guys broke their zone by going high-low and giving up. He was able to get a lot of layups off that.
Just trusting the game plan that Coach gave to us. Just trusting and staying together. And we learned, we grew from Saturday, and we took the win.
I thought the biggest key of the game was your defense on Pettiford. Keeping him from penetrating. When they have only 2 or 3 penetrators, you took a lot of their offense. You kind of got the head of the snake out of the way, and your defense was huge.
Tahad, great player, man, great player. He's next up in Jersey. He's a hell of a player, so I had to step up to the challenge and guard the best player as the best player on the other team. So we had to play that, and then my players had my back with help side defense.
Okay, finally, what do you got to do? You got to go to Bergen Catholic, probably Bergen Catholic,
Yep.
Monday. What do you got to do to pull off yet another upset?
Just it's not even an upset for us. It's a battle.
Battle,
It's a
okay.
battle. It's a battle. So we just gotta play.
Thanks a lot.
Got it.
There are a lot of great matchups coming up, but I wanted to focus on the main ones. That was Linda Elizabeth, St. Peter's Bosco, and this one I'm really looking forward to, and that's Rutgers Prep versus St. Thomas Aquinas. I told you a couple weeks ago this matchup was coming. I watched Rutgers Prep play Camden Tough. I watched St. Thomas Aquinas obliterate their competition in the Roselle Catholic Showcase. Who did they beat? They beat them bad. No, they beat Gill. They beat Gill St. Bernard's. Then they beat Colonial. But they are a super fast team. And St. Thomas Aquinas versus Rutgers Prep. St. Thomas Aquinas' speed and ability to just run you out of the gym, and Adam Salas's greatness versus Rutgers Prep, the team, the super physical, good defensive, very good zone playing team. They play like a extended 3-2 zone. You want to do that against Adam Salas? That's going to be interesting if they stay with that defense. Do you go man as quick as he is? That's going to be the matchup. The matchup is the style of play. Can Rutgers punch you? Could Rutgers Prep punch St. Thomas Aquinas in the face, push them around? Jaden Collins. Look at his numbers the last game. 16 points, 11 rebounds. Franklin Jones and Collins in the man in the middle. 12 points, 10 rebounds. They are very good. They shoot it pretty good. They move the ball well. They play physical. They're tough. They want to test you to see how physical you are. Now, St. Thomas is quicker. St. Thomas could just obliterate Rutgers Prep in the fast break. The problem is, and this could play into Rutgers Prep's hands, at times, St. Thomas Aquinas could be really, really sloppy with unforced errors, trying to speed up the pace too much. And they could be a little sloppy. Being a little sloppy against Rutgers Prep will get you beat. But I just don't know if Rutgers Prep can stay in front of these dudes. I mean, they got guys. They got thoroughbreds, and they're the type of team they could hit. They could be down 10, and then all of a sudden they're up 10 because they hit about 5 or 6 or even 7 3-point shots in a row, and it comes in waves. They hit you in waves. And he has a nice supporting cast of Tyrell Pitts, who could shoot it too. And then Kamal Lee will shoot some threes. Jaden Kelly could shoot threes. And that's how they get you. They shoot it and they run you out of the gym. And their defense is predicated on getting rebounds. They play good defense, but their defense is, let's get this engine started. Let's rev it up. Let's go up and down. They're home. I tell you, Rutgers Prep could beat St. Thomas Aquinas if they're sloppy. I'm banking on them not being sloppy, and St. Thomas wins by a point. It's that close of a matchup.